Good evening. Wait for it. Ha! Tonight we're going to be doing Aberlour A'bunadh. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've actually had this bottle for a long time. I've just never got around to reviewing it, ever. The other day I opened it up just to give it a spin. I really wasn't sure what I had. This is, let's get it right there, batch 46. It is 60.4% alcohol by volume. This was done, I believe in my research, this is 2013 was when this came out. I bought it about a little over a year and a half ago. And maybe 2 years ago. It's actually been a while. It's been sitting. And I didn't open it till 2 weeks ago maybe. And then I started doing a little research on what I had. Batch 46, according to the Whiskey Hound, he said, he said it's not one of the better batches per se, but that doesn't mean it's a bad batch. And I've seen both on and off reviews throughout the thing, and I seen a direct review comparison. One guy did a really good job comparing this with batch 45. And the main difference he could come up with was batch 46 was a little bit younger and slightly different in the finish. Other than that, it had a good carryover, and it was a fine batch. And been my experience without having any other experience with the Aberlour A'bunadh. I like the stuff. So if this is a quote unquote not so good a batch, I can't wait to try a good batch. So that's going to be outstanding. But the single cask Spanish Oloroso sherry butts is what this comes from. A'bunadh means of the origin in Gaelic, and it's just a really good cask strength dram of whiskey. It is non-chill filtered, natural color. Aberlour's, I appreciate their simple packaging. Nothing outstanding, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate outlandish packaging on some things, but I do appreciate the simplicity of this one. It is really nice. The only other Aberlour I've had is a 12-year-old double wood, and I will unequivocally say I did not care for that. I didn't review it or nothing, but it's just not. Didn't care for it at all. Anyway, we got to kind of let it sit for a minute to open up. Again, using the new camera, and I need to get me a better mic, but this is seems to be doing fine by now. Got my little Scotch beaker, my SC Scotch underneath it. I bought that at a little novelty store here in town. Now, my experience with it is this very intense. Very intense. Neat. Now, I'll give it one sip neat, but I've learned that it takes 2 teaspoons of water, and I'm real careful about the amount I poured. I was going to use a different glass. I was going to use a Capita, but I've been drinking it in the Glencairn, and that much there requires, to my flavor, to bring it down, 2 teaspoons. So, quick, good, dark sherry. It's going to be tear up nice, thick tears, viscous coating on the sides of the glass. No age statement. They say it's younger. I don't know what that means. So, obviously I know what it means, but I don't know what it means as compared to a batch 45, which is an older batch. Are we talking 2 years, 10 years? Without an age statement, it's very ambiguous at best. But On the nose, you get the alcohol burn, so you don't dig real deep. You take and go slow. You get all the fruitcake smells, or as the Brits would call the Christmas cake smell. All the dried fruits, dried plums, dried raisins, a bit of nuttiness, a little bit of English walnuts in there. The spices, nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice. You get all the spices in there. Honey butter, spun honey butter. I get that in the nose too. Very rich, extremely rich. And this is the one odd one I've gotten with it that doesn't make sense. And I want to stick with it, and I'm going to say it, and people are going to scratch their heads. But almost a fresh cucumber smell in there. It brings a fresh cucumber smell. And that's the most weirdest thing I've ever gotten. I mean, I've got some weird smells that's triggered that memory bank, but that cucumber smell is really strange. I mean, it's left field, but I do get a little bit of that fresh cucumber, like you just cut into a cucumber, cut it in half, and start slicing it for slices for a salad. It's like fresh cucumber combined with fruitcake. Like I said, it brings the nuttiness. Walnuts especially I get with this. Like I said, it is a bit stiff on the alcohol content. Let's get the palate. It sits real good on the tongue. Then when you bring that light breath in, the heat rolls back. Again, dried prunes, dried raisins. Still get the walnuts. Don't get the cucumbers on the taste, just on the smell. Just on the nose. Almost a yeasty bread. And again, the honey butter. Get the honey butter with it. And then the whole litany of spices, the allspice, nutmeg, cinnamon, all that rolled into one spice bag there. Almost a sweet basil, too. As intense as it is, I would expect a longer finish. It doesn't have as a mediums plus, not quite long, medium, between medium and long, medium to long finish, a medium plus finish on it. It is a good finish. It's a complete mouth coating, warming sensation. It's good, but it's just a little bit lacking in what I would think would be for a long finish. And these are teaspoons. It does bring sweetness with it, of course. I sat there one night and I went through, I could tell I drowned it with 4 teaspoons for me. I did 1 teaspoon at a time till ended up at 4 sips, and the second teaspoon gave me the best result for my palate. Oh, and it changes immediately. The sweetness starts to come forward. It gets confectionery in the nose. I do lose the cucumber smell. That tends to leave the nose altogether. Still stuck with all the spices and the fruitcake, the dried prunes. Again, dried prunes is dominant in this, and dried raisins. And the walnuts. The walnuts stay in there too, that walnut smell. And that's coming from the sherry casks. If you've ever had a good sherry, it brings a lot of walnut for me in it, and you can really notice it. There's a little fruitiness in there too. It's hidden in the background. It's indescript, but it's fruitiness nonetheless. I don't really get a citrus on it. Now, that allows you to hold it long. The burn goes away. You get the sherry and that tail end of that finish, that walnut flavor brings down the back side of my tongue, and that tail end of that finish. The sweetness comes forward on the front of my tongue now. Clings to the side of my cheeks. Very good. On the sides of my tongue. That really brings out that the water in this really makes the experience. In a lot of stuff I drink neat, even higher ABV stuff. But in this one, water completes the experience. I can get another sip for just a second. I'm sorry for that noise I made as I suck it past the sides of my tongue and my cheek. But I do that a couple of times, and then on that inhale, it works for me. Sorry if that bothers you. This is delicious. This is very delicious. And like I said, if this is considered not quite as good a batch, I can't wait to try a good batch. Because in my way of thinking, this is a 90 out of 100. I'm going to give it a 90 out of 100. Pair it with some Ghirardelli 86% dark cacao. And the sweetness combined with the slight bitterness at 86%. That's a chocolate experience. Oh yes. Okay, boys and girls. 90 out of 100. I recommend it. Don't care what anybody else says. I recommend it. I like it. It floats my boat. With that, everybody have a good evening. Remember, the spirit in your glass is not running from you. Take your time, sip it, and enjoy it. You'll be better for it, especially if you get you some A'bunadh. Good stuff. Good night.